Stone Sage, how we all doing today? I'm going to talk about one of my jobs as a painter. 1972, I'd been working construction. I did a little bit of carpentry and more painting. And I had a friend that heard about a job at a high-rise painting. So I called them and they said, come on down for an interview. I went down and I talked to the guy, Jim, and he liked my references, and he says, all right, well, you can start, as soon as you can. And I said, great. And I said, I can start tomorrow. And I've been making good money. And I asked him when I got there, so how much does it pay? And he says, $12 an hour. I said, that's great. And this is 1972. So that was really good money for back then. And very simple job. Just had to go and paint out apartments. And I had this guy, Buckwheat, that worked with me. And Jim, our boss, the only boss, said, okay, get it there in the morning, and he'd give us the apartments to paint. And we had these buckets, 5-gallon buckets of paint, and we take our buckets and rollers and poles and everything and head up and knock these apartments out. We do like an apartment in the morning and then an apartment in the afternoon and get everything started for the next day. And it was easy, just white paint, boom, boom, paint, paint it on the walls. We go in and cut it in. And Buckwheat always had these. This is what would his name was Buckwheat. Swear to God. And he said, "Yeah, that's my parents' name." Yeah, I said, "Yeah, I got a nickname like that too." So he had these little purple joints, little pregnant whale joints, as you call them. I mean, a little bit in the beginning, a little big bulge in the middle, and a little bit at the end. But he had these purple joints. And once our boss Jim left, we basically had the whole day to ourselves. He had his own side gig going on, and that's all he did. He'd borrow some of the paint from the project we're on and take it to his plant, one of his jobs, and that's how it was. And that was a great job. I mean, we had freedom. We'd be able to go up, paint, smoke, do lunch. Fun job. We'd go out and look at the 95, and since we were so high, great view. And Buckwheat had been there before I was, and he came up after we'd finished a 5-gallon bucket one day. He said, "Ben, I have to show you this trick." And I said, "What?" He said, "We went up to the top of the roof, and they got the lid from one of these 5-gallon buckets, and he tossed it off the top. And this thing, I mean, just flew, since it was so high up. It went far, and we were both just amazed how far it went. And but that was a great job. I ended up buying a 72 Dodge van, brand new. And I put my down payment in, took my car, got rid of it, and went to pick up my van. And I said, "Well, there's only one seat." He says, "Well, the passenger seat is extra." I said, "You have got to be kidding me." He said, "No, passenger seats are extra." And I said, "Well, how much is that passenger seat?" And he said, $60. I said, "All right, well, let's put it in. I got to have a seat." So I came back the next day, and they put the seat in, and I left, and I still just was amazed that you had to pay for the passenger seat. So now this wasn't for work at the time. This is for having fun, because you get a load of people in that van, and you could go around and just party. So that's what we did. That was a great year in '72. I worked at that place for a few months until the job closed out, and then I found something else. Wasn't a painting. What was it? I think nope. After that, I got back into construction. My father had a friend. His son had a construction business, so he asked to meet us. And I didn't have as much carpentry experience as my two friends, so I went in on using their experience, but I got us a job. I mean, I knew what to do. Drywall and all the basic stuff. So they did all the finer work and taught me what to do. So he had these couple houses we had to finish out in this one area, and we load my van up and head on out there. And where we had to go was it was like an hour and a half away. So I'd hop in my van since it's the newest one, and we'd ride down, and at the time, 95 was not that bad. So we drive down, do our work, head back up, and we finished up one house, and then we had another house we had to finish up. We had some roof stuff to do, and all the interior walls, drywall, and tile, and we did all that, and it was fun doing that. We finished these two houses up, and I get in a month or two, and then he had another house that had we bought the land. There was no house. The house had a gas explosion and blew everything from the basement floor up. There was just no house left. One thing that was left was the front concrete wall and the basement floor. So he bought this place at a deal, and he ordered a prefab house from Massachusetts or something, and came down on a tractor trailer. And he said, "All right, we got to do this house today, and the guys got to leave." So he got another couple guys or two, so it was like six of us, and you had the guy that drove the stuff down. He would crane it out, and we'd put up these big walls, and we had did the walls, and then did the roof, did all the rafters and the joists. And next day we went in. Now during this day, it had been snowing and sleeting, and it was a miserable day. So about halfway through the day, we all took a break and put on some dry boots and went back to work. And we worked probably 12, 13 hours that day until we got everything, that we could. And the next day we went in and did the roof, the plywood and all that on the roofing. And then the roofers came in and did the rest of that. And we just worked on the interior. And I was kind of getting tired of working in the cold and walking through the snow and doing all that. So I started looking for something else, and I found a different job working janitorial at Montgomery Ward. It was a pay decrease, but at least I knew I was going to be working every day and making a constant paycheck instead of, oh, it's too wet, or we don't have enough stuff, or all construction was very up and down at that time. So, but that's a little bit. Have a good. Peace out.